Welcome back to GMT. The French finance minister says Carlos Ghosn has resigned as chief executive and car maker and chairman of the car maker Renault. Now, Mr. Ghosn is currently under arrest in Tokyo, where he's accused of financial crimes while leading Renault's Japanese partner Nissan. Mr. Ghosn denies any wrongdoing. Let's take you now to Paris and join our correspondent there, Hugh Schofield. Hugh, any reaction that we're hearing from Renault? What's the feeling there?
Well, there's a board meeting now which is going to take cognizance of this resignation and appoint a team to take over from him. It's an important step, one that was inevitable, I think. The French state, which is a major partner or shareholder in Renault, had made clear just a week ago that this situation could not last. The presumption of innocence notwithstanding, the fact was that Carlos Ghosn was going to remain in a Japanese jail for some time to come. We knew that from last week when his appeal was turned down to get out, and that meant that hard facts had to prevail, and a new team needed to take over at Renault. So that's what's happened, and by resigning, I think Mr. Ghosn has spared everyone the embarrassment of having to go through a sort of process of dismissal. It means that they can now move ahead, and quite clearly and definitively a new chapter opens at Renault. So what's going to happen today at their headquarters in Boulogne, just outside Paris, is that a new team will be appointed, and we know who they are. They're going to be Thierry Bolloré, who's effectively been Carlos Ghosn's number two. He's going to be taking over day-to-day operations at the company, releasing, unveiling the new launch of the Clio, a new Clio which is coming out, and tackling the various problem with a sort of darkening world market for cars. And then, maybe more importantly, Jean-Dominique Senard takes over as the kind of strategic boss, so it's a sort of tandem, and it's going to be his job to do the very important task of patching up relations with Nissan. Of course, behind all this lies this extremely tense relationship with the Japanese partner, which Ghosn had tied up, and that is the priority now for Renault to patch up that relationship.
Thanks so much, Hugh. Hugh Schofield there in Paris. The BBC's been conducting many big interviews at Davos, the World Economic Forum there. One of them has been with the Polish Prime Minister, who has told us that he wants to see more workers return from the UK to help Poland's economy grow. He's been speaking to our business correspondent Simon Jack, and Mr. Morawiecki said that the Brexit negotiations were now over and the ball was in the British Prime Minister's court.
We need creativity. I would agree with Chancellor Merkel, who would say that we have to find a way, or we have to fight for compromise till the very last day. And this I would agree with.
Michel Bonnick sees that as breaking solidarity on the EU side.
But definitely not so. I wouldn't call it like this. I would mention that actually now a no-deal Brexit is a default scenario, as he has indicated indeed as well. And let's be creative, let's be flexible as much as possible. But now the ball is at the court of Prime Minister May.
You say you need creativity. Does that mean that you'd be prepared, or you think it's a good idea to reopen the negotiations? Is that a possibility?
We've actually closed the negotiations in November. We have voted for this. We have discussed within the European Council. And
so that's no coming back? No coming back?
Well, no coming back at this stage, and it's up to Michel Barnier what to do with this going forward. But let me emphasize that actually my best case scenario would be if a British nation could decide for the United Kingdom to stay as part of the European Union.
People think that no deal is gradually being discarded. Do you get that sense? What do you feel?
I get that sense. I see the sterling strengthening, which is an indication of this very imagination, most likely.
Has the EU been a bully in these negotiations?
Well, there might have been some harsh words. And maybe this is, the negotiations, both parts were sometimes quite tough.
Do you have any data that there are fewer Polish people going to live and work in the UK? Some are coming back. What's your information on that?
More and more are coming back, and I'm very happy with that because there is the lowest level of unemployment in Poland, 5.5% GDP growth, one of the strongest within the European Union. So I would hope that many Poles would come back to Poland. And
the Polish Prime Minister speaking to us there in Davos. Now, do you recognise this painting? The artist, of course, the original Renaissance man and the toast of Europe. But today, Leonardo da Vinci has found himself at the centre of an international spat. James Reynolds is in Florence for us with the story.
Take as much time as you need in front of each of these early Leonardo paintings on display in Florence. They will not be going on tour to join the Mona Lisa at the Louvre in Paris.
You'd think that there'd be enough Leonardo works to go around to keep everyone happy. But that's not how this argument is playing out. The artist is now essentially the subject of an international custody dispute.
The Uffizi Gallery says that the works are too fragile to be moved.
Any travel always puts works of art at risk. I mean, there are very, very sophisticated ways of having paintings travel nowadays. However, nothing is as safe as keeping them where they are.
But there's much more to it than simple conservation. Right now, populist-led Italy and liberal-run France do not get along. Italy accuses France of trying to hijack Leonardo for itself.
Leonardo, come Leonardo, è patrimonio del mondo.
Leonardo as such belongs to the world, of course. But if you ask me where he is from, he's Italian. He was an Italian genius. And the fact that he was surrounded by all this Italian beauty, this environment allowed him to grow and become what he is now.
But France, the custodian of the artist's most famous work, feels no need for history lessons from Italy.
What a revelation! What a revelation! Yes, Leonardo is Italian, but he has freely chosen to come in France and to live in this country during several years, and he has conceived many great projects. Leonardo is Italian, but at the same time he was French, he was European.
A divided continent now prepares to mark the 500th anniversary of Leonardo's death. The Renaissance symbol, who once dreamed of flight, is now grounded in a nationalistic debate. James Reynolds, BBC News, Florence.
Thanks for joining us on GMT. You can reach me on Twitter. I'm at Lucy Hockings, BBC. Bye-bye.